Stop thinking about Pete Davidson. Pete Davidson's not thinking about you. Hi, I'm Madeline, or just Maddie, and there are some books coming out in 2023 that I'm actually pretty excited about. So let's talk about them. I feel like I need more of an intro than that. What else is new with me? My new laundry hamper's coming today, so now I'll have 2 laundry hampers like a wealthy person. I've been getting back into cross-stitching and embroidery. I learned a lot about virtual power plants today. My arms are sore from kneading bread dough. That's probably enough. How are you? But let's talk about these books that are coming out in the year of our Lord 2023, or have already come out, as is the case with this first one, which is Sam by Allegra Goodman. And I'll put the other release dates like with the titles in the description below after I go through and look them up. Sam is a new release. I haven't picked it up yet. I really want to, but I think I'm gonna have to be in kind of the right headspace to take this one on. Why is headspace important maybe for Sam? The first line of the description is, "What happens to a girl's exuberance and wonder as she becomes a woman?" And based on my own personal experience, the answer to that question is nothing super positive, at least for a while. So based on what I've seen from the description and reviews, this book sounds like it's going to be really beautiful and awesome, but also potentially just sort of agonizing, because it follows our one character, the character's name is Sam, through her childhood and then into like her teen years. And the thought of examining those years in anyone's life, real or fictional, makes me want to sort of like curl in on myself and protect my soft parts. Is that vulnerability? Is that shame? Brene Brown would know. I don't know, but you gotta be ready to encounter and deal with feelings like that. So I don't know when that's going to fit into my life. Maybe that's like a late winter, early spring sort of book. Like, I'm confident there will be some hope at some point toward the end maybe, or like some sort of resolution. They're not just gonna leave us on like teen angst and learning that the adults in your life can disappoint you and dealing with all the horrible things that happen to a person just like as part of being an adolescent. The overall sort of vibe and premise sort of reminds me of 2 movies. Boyhood, where they filmed it over the course of like 10 years so that the actors aged along with the story that they're trying to tell. And then the one that Bo Burnham directed, 8th Grade, is the title of that one. So it kind of reminds me of those. We'll see if the actual vibe of the book like matches up with that kind of stuff, but that's what it's made me think of so far. On a possibly lighter note, I'm looking forward to Romantic Comedy by Curtis Sittenfield. I enjoy comedy. I like a witticism. I like a clever turn of phrase. I'm just one of those crazy girls that loves to laugh. I've had people comment on this channel that my videos are funny, which is awesome, but also for some reason makes me want to reply with, why are you lying? What do you want? What are you trying to get out of this? But thank you if you think that. So hearing about this book reminded me of this study that I think I first heard mentioned in an interview or something that was talking about humor and relationships, and it found that almost everybody says that they want a partner with a good sense of humor. But the difference is women define someone with a good sense of humor typically as someone that makes them laugh. Men think it's someone who laughs at their jokes. That's different. So that might help sort of explain why so many male comedians, even if they're kind of goofy looking or like aren't conventionally attractive, can still find themselves in relationships with like A-list actresses and models and stuff. This isn't all about Pete Davidson, but I know you're thinking about Pete Davidson. Stop thinking about Pete Davidson. Pete Davidson's not thinking about you. I will actually start talking about this book now. Our main character is a female comedy writer, and she has seen her male counterparts start these relationships with these gorgeous, accomplished women, and it's become kind of a running joke, but then she finds herself attracting, I think he's an actor, but some sort of hot celebrity guy. And what happens then? I don't know, but when this book comes out, I'm gonna find out. That premise sounds super promising and I'm very excited. I have read one Curtis Sittenfield book, and it was when I was in high school, so it's been a minute. An author I have read much more recently is Emily Henry, and I'm sure you've seen her on a lot of 2023 anticipated lists because she is coming out with a new book called Happy Place, and I will definitely read it. I will read anything she writes. I love her books. The general idea for this one, a couple broke up months ago, but they haven't told their friend group yet. And every year the group goes on a big trip together to a cabin. I think it's a cabin, some sort of vacation home. and it's the last year they can do it in this specific place because the cabin or house or whatever is being sold. And so this former couple's like, well, we don't want to like ruin that with our breakup, so let's just get through this and pretend that we're still together. So it's like fake dating for people who used to be real dating, and they're in a confined space and sharing bathrooms with people who know them really well. Excellent setup, can't wait. I can also attest to the fact that going to a cabin with your friends as adults is perhaps even more generally chaotic and potentially dramatic than doing the same thing like for spring break in college. Especially if your ex is there. Let's talk about I Have Some Questions for You by Rebecca Makkai. I don't have very specific reading goals for this year around like genre, or I want to definitely read this book, and this book. I don't like to fence myself in because let's all remember, reading is a hobby. This is a hobby we're all doing. This is something that is supposed to be fun and relaxing. Reading is at its core a thing to do. Put that on a tote bag. All that to say, I do want to read some more mysteries or thrillers this year because I have read a few that I really liked recently, and I think it would be fun to keep that up in 2023. This one I think looks really promising. I haven't read anything else by this author, but she is highly critically acclaimed. I did a quick skim of the description of this one, and we've got a murdered roommate at a boarding school, a family tragedy, a possible wrongful conviction. Our main character is going back to her boarding school to teach a class, I believe, and has her re-examining these events from her past. I kind of wonder if it's going to do that thing that a lot of books do now where it's got the split timeline thing where we are in the present, but then there's also chapters that are in the past. If I had to put money on it, I bet it would. But I think the cover for this one's cool. I think the premise sounds promising. I bet it's going to be pretty solid. And once again, I have no idea when it's coming out, so that's a thrilling mystery in and of itself. Another thriller I'm interested in is Housewoman by Adorah Nworah. It is about a woman who is set up in an arranged marriage, so she travels from Lagos, Nigeria, to Houston, Texas, where she finds that the man she's supposed to marry had no idea she was coming. The whole thing was set up by his parents because they would like grandchildren, and he considers himself a feminist. And it seems sort of clear from the brief description that his fiancée is not stoked about his reaction to all of that and everything that she gave up and everything that she was promised. And I assume it gets pretty thrillery from there. There isn't a ton of information about this one yet. I don't think it's coming out till this summer, but another very cool cover, very interesting premise, and I think it is quite promising. This next one also has house in the title, but I don't know if it's considered a thriller necessarily or if it's just sort of weird. Because it sounds super weird, and looking at the cover is very cool, but it also looks weird. Everything about this book is saying, get ready, it's weird. It's House of Cotton by Monica Brashears. So our main character is working at a gas station, and somebody comes in and offers her a really high-paying job as a model at a funeral home. What does that mean? How do you model at a funeral home? And that's probably just what happens by like chapter 2. Based on some quick skimming of spoiler-free reviews, it just continues to get really weird, and it also explores some race and power dynamics, which I think will be quite fascinating, especially in this context. My one little hesitation with this one is so dumb, and I'm being dumb, and you can tell me I'm being dumb. But if you're in the comments telling me I'm being dumb, please also answer this question. Do you ever get weird when the name of a character in a book matches with the name of someone that you know in real life? Is that ever weird? Does that ever kind of take you out of it a little bit? Or if your name is used for a character name in a book, is that weird? In this instance, the main character in House of Cotton's name is Magnolia. I know one person named Magnolia in real life. She's a very small child and she's very dear to me. Based on the vibes I'm getting from this book so far, I don't think that fictional Magnolia is going to have a great time the whole time. And I wouldn't be super excited to read about terrible things happening to someone named Magnolia. I'm sure I'd get over it sooner than I think. Once you're a couple chapters in, you kind of just don't process it anymore, but just a consideration, just a weird thing. Moving on. I have one more book on my list of 2023 releases that I'm excited about, but I'm gonna have to read the title of this one because it's long and I'll forget. Hey Hun, Sales, Sisterhood, Supremacy, and the Other Lies Behind Multi-Level Marketing by Emily Lynn Paulson. It's nonfiction, so you know I'm smart. And honestly, I don't need to read this book because I am comfortably firm in my personal position on multi-level marketing businesses, which is that they are financially, emotionally, socially, and sometimes spiritually harmful to the people involved in them, especially women, and especially stay-at-home moms who might already be dealing with some guilt around not contributing financially to the household or feeling lonely because they spend most of their day with their children and don't have a lot of other adult interactions, or just are looking for support and connection, and instead they find this predatory business model in which nobody really makes money except for the people at the very tippy top because it's a pyramid scheme. I know that some of them are worse than others, and I'm not saying that if you've ever been involved with an MLM or are currently involved with an MLM or have ever bought anything from an MLM, you're a terrible person. I'm going to stop throwing caveats. Just know that I appreciate you as a human regardless of your involvement with these businesses, but I think they are a net negative for society. Anyway, about this book. So what's interesting to me about this particular story is the author was encouraged to use her cancer diagnosis. She was encouraged to use this tragic diagnosis as a way to like boost her sales in the MLM that she was involved with and like rise through the ranks and tug at people's heartstrings because she has cancer, and what a great business opportunity. And that is a new level of messed up that I have not seen explored in the other media I have consumed about this particular business model. Yikes. Time will tell if I actually read any of these books, but what I want to know is what books are you excited for in 2023? I think Cassandra Clare has something coming out. I have never read a word that she's written, but people seem excited and I'm happy for them. In the meantime, please subscribe and like and comment. I'm gonna go wash my hair and play Stardew Valley, I think. If you play Stardew Valley, tell me which one of the villagers I should marry. That's fun. How fun. Okay. Bye-bye.